this is David Starr. Welcome to the Beauty and Ruin podcast. My guest this episode is award-winning singer-songwriter Dana Cooper. Dana and I have been friends for a long time, written some songs together, and I'm grateful that he was able to contribute to this project. All right, we're here talking to Dana Cooper today in Dana Cooper's kitchen with Pee-wee. What's the cat's name?
Buddha.
Buddha just went out, a very bad cat, but Dana brought him back in. So everybody's fine now, except perhaps Dana. So thanks for doing this today. What we're doing is talking about Beauty and Ruin, which is the new album coming out that you helped write the title song for. And it all came from my granddad's book. Without going back to the book right now, have you got any initial impressions about the project, the book, the whole idea that we had?
Well, yeah, your idea for Beauty and Ruin came directly from the tragedy of that story,
right?
The love relationship between the younger woman and the older man, I think he brought me the idea before I'd actually read the book.
That sounds
Maybe
about
I was
right.
in the process of it, but yeah, it definitely. I don't remember if there was an exact passage. It seems like there was a passage in the book that had to do with a garden, maybe, or something.
Maybe
it was one of the things that popped into my head. But
and then the title for that song. You were out on the road because you play 250 nights a year or whatever it is, and you posted a picture of something. Seems like it was down in South New Mexico or someplace.
Right.
And as you often do, you're out on your walkabouts during the day when, a lot of artists just lay around the hotel room. You actually get out and walk around, see the world. So we all like to see a picture. So one of the things you did was you posted this picture, and I couldn't even tell you what it was of. But the caption caught me. You said, "There's so much beauty and ruin out here." And I texted you at that moment. Okay. I said, "There's our title." So, as has happened with the two songs we've written for projects of mine, I throw a title your way and then you sort of take the ball and run with it. So, people have asked me, and you can tell me if this is about right, people have said, "What is that song about?" And I said, well, for me, it gets to be about Laura, who's the character in the book, who comes into the family and into the lives of those people and kind of blows it all up.
Right.
And for me, when I'm singing that song, I'm thinking of Beauty and Ruin can be everything, all of that in one package, which she kind of was.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
that's
not to beat up on her specifically or women in general.
Right.
But it's an old story.
It is. And yeah, I mean, that's really what I got out of that story too. That was how it all kind of synthesized down into that idea of, isn't that true of so many love relationships that, it's the good and the bad. It's the good, bad, and the ugly.
They start out one way and become something else.
Yeah. And maybe all of life you could look at it that way. Maybe. I mean, it's not all beauty, certainly.
No.
So.
Well, and the arc of the book is called "Of What Was, Nothing Is Left," and I think that they pretty much decimated the entire everything in their home, their lives, their relationships. Everything was kind of blown up by the end of the book.
Yeah,
there were just those two people left. So the concept of the project, backing up a little bit, what drew you to that in the first place? Because I've been talking to some of the other songwriters, trying to get. What was nice for me is that I put this out to several people, and everybody said yes and thought it was a good idea. They could have easily said, "I'm not interested," but they all said they were interested. So what drew you to the project?
Well, I mean, I was just intrigued with the idea of taking a book and creating songs out of the stories in the book, because I'm a big reader anyway. And so as soon as you told me about your grandfather writing this book, I thought he sounded like a pretty interesting character to begin with, and I was just curious about the book. And then once I started reading it, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was a real good read. I didn't. I read through it. I didn't put it away for a while or anything. It was sort of, I wanted to read the next chapter, see what was going to happen to these people.
Well, that seems to be how everybody read it. And it would be easy for me to look at it and go, oh, it's my granddad's, so it's more precious to me than it might be to other people. But everybody sort of had that reaction, which was nice. He would be pleased, I'm sure, as we all are, if somebody listens to our stuff or reads what we write, and they go, man, I couldn't put it down or I couldn't stop listening. That's kind of why you do it.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. Well, and that's a part of the intrigue of it for me too, I suppose, was that very thing. It's like this fellow wrote this book. It wasn't like he sold thousands of copies or anything. And how cool it was all these years later that you're resurrecting it and passing it around to friends, and the whole idea of it just really appealed to me, and it would have been a different thing if I'd read it and hated it, but I didn't. I really enjoyed it. So
well, yeah, I'm gratified that everybody, including you, was wanting to be involved in it.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, I don't know if I told you this, but the album was going to be called "Of What Was, Nothing Is Left."
Oh, okay.
And so I was unavailable to come down to Nashville from Colorado, where I live most of the time, and be involved in the initial mixing of the record. And I walked into the studio one day to sort of review the final mixes with John Oates and David Kalmusky, who John was the producer and David and I co-produced. I walked in and I said, how's it sounding, guys? And they said, well, fine, but we've changed the title of the album to Beauty and Ruin, which is the song we wrote. And I said, well, I'll hear you out. And they said, look, that song sums up the whole thing, because they'd been listening sort of in chronological order to the record and over again, and that song to them seemed to sum the whole thing up. It makes a little tidier title for a book, for a record, so that made sense as well. But I was going to ask you something else. I forgot what it was. Any other impressions that you might have about the whole thing?
Well, I've only heard. I heard most of the songs, I guess. I
don't know if you've heard everything in
not everything
yet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I love the production of the record. I think it's gorgeous, and I think the songs he wrote with everyone are really good. Some of them kind of more.
Have I sent you the video?
No.
Okay.
I've only seen like a clip of it.
Well, one of the things that happened, and I'll send you the video. Actually, will air shortly. By the time somebody hears this, it will have already aired. But the word John Oates kept using about this song was cinematic, and so we took that vibe that the song has, that cinematic vibe, if there is such a thing, and Jason Denton, who I work with on videos, took it and made this really big cinematic thing out of it from a video perspective, but it still has some real intimate spots in it, some close-ups and some tight shots of really cool stuff. So we're hoping that will help get the point across as well.
Yeah, and all shot out in your neck of the woods out there in Colorado, right?
Yeah, right there around Cedar Edge and Grand Mesa.
Yeah.
We were going to shoot it in Nashville, but we couldn't find anywhere suitable, and I said, well, just come out here. We got a lot.
Nowhere that beautiful, really.
Well,
found a lot of ruin.
Well, we tried to find some ruin. We found an old rusty GMC truck, but even the paint was good on it. So, well, what have you got a new album in the works? You got stuff coming up?
Oh, I'm just writing things.
You're always writing.
Thinking about the next thing. I'm trying to figure out what to do. Do I really want to make a CD? Do I want to? And what will I do with that? There's things we all face these days.
What's the point in that these days, to some extent?
But, you have to do some of those songs, right, that you're writing. So, yeah, I'm really moving slowly along with that, but I'm fine with it. It's been kind of a slow summer for me, so I'm getting back to the road now,
Good.
This week. And when I get out there on the road, I tend to write a little more. So,
do you write when you're driving?
I do write when I'm driving.
I don't mean actually physically with the pen in your hand.
Yeah, no. I do come with a lot of ideas. I record things. I mean, every day. That's one of you mentioned the walks, and I do walks every day. I mean, there may be a day here and there where I don't, but every day I attempt to walk somewhere. And usually on the road I walk, well, even here I walk in the morning, I walk at night too.
Yeah.
So, all the variety of places I go to, environments I'm in, it's always kind of fascinating to me. I could be in the heart of a city, or I could be out in the middle of nowhere, or on the coastline or in the mountains or whatever. So there's always some new inspiration, to pick up on. And every day I mumble some things into my recorder,
You use your phone for that.
I use the phone mostly for that.
That's kind of revolutionized the way a lot of people write songs and remember stuff, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
You know, I remember some of my best work in the 80s was written on a cocktail napkin, and then I washed the blue jeans.
Yeah. Oops.
And there, you know, so there goes that.
Yeah.
But,
well, I do still. I mean, I always have a little pocket notebook with me too.
Yeah.
You know, but I do write a lot on the road, even if it's just little bits and spurts. And when I'm home, there's all the work to catch up with, and all all the business stuff.
Cats
and
to catch. And,
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing another thing sometime this coming year. I'll
cool.
put something else up. But
I tell a story about you everywhere I go when I do the song that we worked on together called "Hard to Find a Witness."
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who haven't heard the song, I live in a small town in Colorado, and about 5-6 years ago, they redid the streets, and the main part of town was torn up for 4 months on a hot summer like we're having now. And nobody could get to the small businesses there to do business, and it was a pretty bad deal because the people doing the work did a terrible job, in my opinion, and were slow and seemed not to care what they were doing. One day, the lawyer down the street, Larry, walked down and he said, "Hey, can you come down and witness a will for me?" And we always help him with that because that's what you do with your neighbors, and in a small town especially. And I looked up and down the dusty street, and I said, and I own a guitar store there, and I was running the store alone that day. And I said, "Larry, I can't really leave right now because I've got, customers in my store. I'm sorry, I can't walk down there and help you." And he looked up and down the street, and he said, "It's getting hard to find a witness on Main Street." And so, like any good songwriter, I said, "Well, see you later." And I went in and wrote that down.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's hard to find a witness on Main Street anymore. With the old ones.
I gave that title to you, and not knowing exactly where that came from without too much background, you took that, and to me, made it sort of about the demise of small towns if we're not careful, how they just sort of dry up and blow away.
Yeah.
And I know I see this when I'm driving around the Southwest or just about anywhere in the States.
Mm-hmm.
You go through a town and there's not much left.
Yeah.
There's like a bank. There's always a bank.
Yeah.
Because that's where the money is Bugsy Siegel.
There's some money there, somebody's money.
There's a stockman's bank, but no ranchers, and there's
Yeah, right.
a 7-Eleven or or a Gopher store or a Maverick or something selling Slurpees and Skull.
Yeah.
And then there might be a school left because there's a little tax base,
Thrift store.
But anyway, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, but that's kind of what I got out of that song, and you took that one most of the way as well.
Well, that was, and that was interesting. You're right. When you first ran that idea by me, I wasn't sure at first either. What is this exactly? And but we talked about that a little bit, about that town, and having been there and kind of seen. Cedar Edges. Wow, it's an exception because it's really it's flourishing. It seems like, or it's growing.
It ebbs and flows, but we've tried to keep it vibrant.
Yeah, and a lot of little towns out there. I was up in the Midwest some years back, and there was a whole stretch of little towns up there in where were they? Like Nebraska and Iowa and Missouri, and they've got these like. They've really concentrated on beautifying and bringing life back into some of these little towns.
Right.
And that's really an encouraging thing to see. But that all tied into that idea,
Right.
Once it's and we worked the lawyer in there and the school
there's a liquor store mentioned because there's always a liquor store.
Yeah, exactly.
When all else fails,
they're going to be there.
They're either part of the solution or part of the problem.
Exactly.
Well, that song's given me lots of mileage, and I always use it as a springboard to tell people they need to hire you and have you come play their house.
Oh, thank you.
Play wherever I'm playing. I actually mentioned Cedar Edge, Colorado in Scotland one year when I was over there, and I said, "I bet nobody knows where that is." And this guy raised his hand, and it was like, wow.
That's funny, isn't it?
Anyway, well, we'll listen to the song now, but I wanted to thank you for taking the time today, and
Sure.
I'm glad you found the cat because it could have been, I
Thank
hate to
you.
say this, but it could have been catastrophic. Right. It's DanaCooperMusic.com, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. Thanks for spending time with me.
Sure, thanks, Dave.
Right.
traveled far through the lonely wood, crawled when I had to, ran when I could. No way to know what I would find, beauty and ruin at the end of the line. This crooked road I wound up on led me to you, and now you're gone. Our sky of blue turned cold and gray, beauty and ruin at the end of the day. Beauty in the sinking sun, the union of two lonely ones together in the dark. Ruin in the breaking dawn, unforgiving light falls on two hearts torn apart. You heed the story in a face grown old, see the faded glory of a dying rose. Savor the sweet and bitter wine, beauty and ruin, I was yours and you were mine. Were like wisps in the winds of chance. We'd fall and twist, we'd spin and dance. You spoke to me in words that rhyme.